The Imperium of Man spans 1,000,000 worlds, and on every one of them, humanity bleeds. In the 41st millennium, hope is measured not in victory, but in how slowly you lose. Yet even in this galaxy of endless night, souls find purpose or are forged into it. Some are born into war. Others die and are reborn as something far more terrible. Logan's last memory of his old life was pain, which seemed fitting. He'd clawed his way through worse hells, but this one was different. This one wanted him. Not to devour, but to remake. When awareness returned, it came with a clarity that made his old senses seem dull. The world resolved into sharp focus. Gothic architecture, carved from mountain stone. Banners, depicting a snarling wolf's head. The acrid smell of incense, mixed with weapon oil, and something metallic he recognized as gene-crafting chemicals. His body felt wrong, too large, too heavy, encased in ceramite that should have felt foreign, but fit like a second skin. Brother Logan, you wake. Tinged with an accent that reminded him of Norse warriors from ancient Earth. A massive figure in power armor stood over him, blonde hair bound in ritual braids. A wolf pelt across his shoulders. The Emperor's will guided your soul through the sea of souls. Rare, perhaps blessed, perhaps cursed. Logan sat up on the slab, servo motors in his armor whirring. His hands were massive, encased in powered gauntlets. Where the hell am I? The Fang. Fenris. Home of the Space Wolves. 6th Legion. Sons of Russ. The warrior's eyes narrowed. You remember your past life. This too is rare. Most neophytes lose themselves in the transformation. Their mortal memories burned away by the Canis helix and implantation. Yet you speak with a dead man's tongue. Memories flooded back X-Men, Weapon X, centuries of war and loss. Logan looked down at his armored form, felt the enhanced hearts beating in his chest. 2 of them felt organs he'd never possessed working in harmony. He was transhuman now. Post-human. A space marine. I died, Logan said quietly. And were reborn. The wolf priests say your soul screamed through the warp, drawn to gene seed prepared for another. The warrior offered a slight smile, though it held little warmth. I am Bjorn of the Iron Maw. You were found in the Apothecarian 3 cycles past, your transformation complete but unconscious. Now you stand among the Vluka Fenrika, the wolves of Fenris. Your past life matters not. You are Space Wolf now. Logan swung his legs off the slab, standing. The world spun for a moment, his enhanced senses processing too much data. He could smell 17 different warriors in nearby chambers, hear conversations 3 halls away, taste the moisture content in the recycled air. It was like his old senses amplified 100-fold. These memories, Logan growled. They gonna be a problem? That depends. Bjorn's hand rested on his bolter. Can you follow the pack? Can you howl with your brothers when the battle rage takes you? Or will you remain a lone hunter, trusting no one, fighting beside none? The Space Wolf's expression hardened. We are not your X-Men. We are the Emperor's executioners. Brotherhood is not optional, it is survival. Before Logan could respond, a klaxon wailed through the Fang. Bjorn's vox bead crackled with rapid Gothic. The warrior's expression shifted to something between anticipation and grim satisfaction. Dark Eldar raiders strike at Hive Secundus on the world below. Slavers. They take our people. Bjorn locked his helm into place. Your first hunt begins now, Brother Logan. Let us see if the Emperor's gift of rebirth was blessing or waste of gene seed. Logan felt something stir in his chest, not just the enhanced organs, but something older. Something that remembered protecting the innocent, remembered the rage that came when predators hunted the weak. His lips pulled back in a snarl that would have looked at home on any Fenrisian wolf. Let's go hunting. As he followed Bjorn through the Fang's winding corridors toward the strike cruiser bays, Logan caught his reflection in polished adamantium, Gray armor marked with wolf iconography, a face that was his but harder, more angular, enhanced. And when he flexed his hands in frustration at the unfamiliar gauntlets, he heard the whisper of metal, felt the instinctive urge to unsheath something that wasn't there. The claws were gone. That old familiar weapon, the one constant through centuries, absent. He was starting over. New body, new war, new hell. If you want to see more characters enter different universes, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character and the universe you'd want to see them in down in the comments below. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. The strike cruiser Bloodied Fang descended through Fenris's atmosphere like a cathedral of wrath. Logan. He still thought of himself as Logan, not whatever name the chapter might give him, stood in the drop pod bay with Bjorn's pack. 5 other space wolves, each a mountain of ceramite and fury. Veterans of centuries checking their weapons with ritual precision. Your war gear, Brother Logan. A wolf priest approached, his armor decorated with wolf skulls and purity seals. In his augmented hands, he carried a pair of weapons that made Logan's enhanced heart skip a beat. Lightning claws, master-crafted, their power fields crackling with barely contained energy. The blades were longer than standard pattern, curved like talons, inscribed with Fenrisian runes. They hummed as if alive. The Fenrisian fangs, the wolf priest intoned, found in the same chamber where your gene seed awakened. The Iron Priests claim they were forged centuries ago, waiting for the warrior meant to wield them. Perhaps the All-Father knew you would come. Logan took the weapons, mag-locking them to his armor's forearm mounts. The moment they connected, something clicked into place. Not quite his old adamantium claws, but close enough. He activated them with a thought, the power field blazing to life, the blades extending, 3 on each hand. Just like before. Good fit, he growled. The drop pod screamed through atmospheric entry. Logan's enhanced senses picked up everything, the superheated air shrieking past the ablative hull. His brother's elevated heart rates as combat approached, the ozone smell of the lightning claws still active on his forearms. Dark Eldar, Bjorn voxed over the pack channel, are Xenos filth who feed on suffering. They take slaves for their arenas, and worse torments. Fast, cruel. They strike from webway portals and vanish before retaliation. His tone darkened. Today, we ensure they do not vanish. The pod hit like the Emperor's fist, retro thrusters firing at the last second before impact. The doors blew outward in shaped charges, and Logan surged forward with his pack into the hell of Hive Secundus's underbelly. The scene was carnage. Habblock residents, human civilians, lay scattered across Rockcrete streets, some dead, others screaming as Dark Eldar warriors in jagged armor herded them toward shimmering portals. The Xenos moved with inhuman grace, their weapons crackling with poisoned energy. They turned as the space wolves emerged, their expressions shifting from cruel amusement to something approaching concern. For Russ and the All-Father. Bjorn's howl split the air as the pack surged forward. Logan ran with them, his transhuman body moving faster than he'd ever managed before. A Dark Eldar warrior leveled a splinter rifle at him. He felt the weapon's targeting lock on like an itch across his armor. The Xenos fired. Dozens of crystal shards laced with molecular toxins struck his chest plate, one finding the joint seam at his neck. The poison burned as it entered his bloodstream. Neurotoxin designed to paralyze and torture. His enhanced organs kicked in the preomner, neutralizing it, the oolytic kidney filtering it out. But even as his body fought the venom, something else activated. His healing factor, the gift that had followed him through death itself. The wound at his neck sealed in seconds. The poison burned away. Logan didn't slow. The Dark Eldar warrior's eyes widened behind his helmet as Logan crashed into him like a freight train. The Fenrisian fangs ignited, power field blades shearing through Xenos armor like parchment. 3 claws punched through the warrior's chest, lifted him off his feet, then tore sideways. The Dark Eldar came apart in a spray of alien blood. Brother Logan demonstrates enthusiasm. One of the pack, a warrior named Sven, laughed over the Vox as he gunned down Xenos with his bolter. But wastes rage on single foe. What of the pack, a warrior? Logan snarled, already moving to the next target. 2 Dark Eldar circled him, their movements synchronized, blades crackling with dark light energy. They struck together, one high, one low. Logan's old instinct screamed at him to dodge, roll, use his smaller size against larger opponents. But he wasn't small anymore. He was a space marine. Logan didn't dodge. He charged forward, taking the low blade strike across his thigh armor where Ceramite held. His left claw swept up, batting aside the high strike, and his right claw eviscerated the first Xenos. The second warrior backflipped away with impossible agility. Logan's enhanced senses tracked the movement, predicted the landing, and he was already there when the Xenos touched down. The Fenrisian fangs punched through the warrior's spine. Your kill count rises, brother, but your tactics concern me. Bjorn's voice was measured, even as his frost axe cleaved a Dark Eldar in half. You fight alone. You protect no flanks. You guard no brothers. Logan spun, looking for his next target, and realized Bjorn was right. The other space wolves fought as a unit, overlapping fields of fire, covering each other's approaches, moving like a single organism. He'd been fighting like he always had, alone, trusting only his healing factor to keep him alive. But now, he had brothers who could die. A Dark Eldar Reaver jet bike screamed overhead, its rider firing a heat lance that struck the space wolf named Sven. The superheated beam punched through shoulder armor, and Sven stumbled. The Reaver circled for another pass, weapon charging. Logan moved without thinking. He sprinted, built up speed, and leaped transhuman strength, launching him 15 feet into the air. His claws extended, and he crashed into the jet bike in mid-flight. The Fenrisian fangs tore through anti-grav units and rider alike. They hit the ground in a tumbling crash of Ceramite, Xenos flesh, and sparking machinery. Logan rolled to his feet, covered in alien blood. Sven nodded once, acknowledgement, not gratitude. Space Marines didn't thank each other for doing their duty, but something had shifted. Logan felt it. The pack felt it. The remaining Dark Eldar recognized they'd lost surprise and numerical advantage. Bjorn's pack pursued, bolters roaring, but the Xenos were fast. The portals began collapsing, reality folding in on itself. One portal remained open, a shimmering gateway into impossible geometry. Through it, Logan glimpsed a Dark Eldar Archon in Baroque armor, watching the battle with calculating eyes. The Xenos leader pointed directly at Logan, spoke something in their serpentine tongue, then vanished as the portal collapsed. They marked you, Bjorn said quietly, approaching. Xenos do not forget warriors who cost them prizes. Logan retracted his claws, looking at the civilians they'd saved, maybe 50 out of hundreds. Many were wounded, traumatized, staring at the space wolves with expressions mixing gratitude and terror. To them, the Adeptus Astartes were as alien as the Xenos who'd attacked them. We saved some, Logan said. We killed Xenos, Bjorn corrected. That is our purpose. The mortals who survived are fortunate byproduct. He turned away. Come. The Fang awaits. Your performance will be evaluated. As they marched back to the extraction point, Logan felt the weight of revelation settling in. He'd been reborn as a weapon for the Imperium of Man. And the Imperium measured success not in lives saved but in enemies killed. His healing factor had already proven itself. The neck wound was completely gone. The thigh strike merely a scar on Ceramite. But could he heal from what this galaxy would do to his soul? The Great Hall of the Fang echoed with the assembled space wolves, as Wolf Lord Ragnar Blackmane reviewed the after-action reports. Logan stood at attention with Bjorn's pack, his armor still scored from the Dark Eldar engagement 3 days past. Around him, dozens of space wolves watched with the predatory interest of apex hunters evaluating new pack member. Brother Logan. Ragnar's voice carried easily across the chamber, a warrior born to command. Your kill count was impressive. 17 confirmed Xenos. Your combat instincts are sharp, your weapon skill exceptional for one so newly transformed. He paused. Yet you fought as though your brothers did not exist. The accusation hung in the air. Logan felt eyes boring into him, not hostile, but evaluating, testing. I'm used to fighting alone, Logan admitted. Old habits. Habits that will kill your brothers if not corrected. Wolf Priest Ulrich. The Slayer stepped forward, his ancient armor decorated with enough honors to fill a museum. You possess gifts, Logan. The Wolf Priests have examined you thoroughly these past days. Your healing rate exceeds even Space Marine norms. Wounds that would sideline a brother for weeks, close in hours. Toxins that would kill mortal men burn from your system in heartbeats. Ulrich's gaze sharpened. Yet gifts can be curses. The Canis Helix transforms us, gives us strength, sharpens our senses, but it also carries the Wolfen curse, the beast that lurks within every son of Russ, waiting for weakness to emerge. He gestured to Logan. In you, I sense that beast already prowling, your past life's rage, combined with gene seed enhancement. Tell me, brother, can you control what sleeps inside your soul? Logan remembered the berserker rages, the times he'd lost himself to animal fury and woken surrounded by bodies. Remembered Jean, Charles, others trying to teach him control. That was a different life, a different hell. I've controlled worse, Logan growled. Perhaps. Ulrich turned to Ragnar. I recommend deployment. True testing comes not in practice cages but in war. Ragnar nodded. Bjorn, your pack is assigned to Compliance Action Theta 7, the Ghoul Star Sector. Orc infestation on Agri-World Valdris Prime threatens food production for 3 systems. Exterminate the greenskin presence. His eyes found Logan. Brother Logan will accompany you. Let us see if he learns to run with the pack or remains lone wolf. The dismissal was clear. As the Space Wolves filed out, Logan caught Bjorn's gaze. The pack leader jerked his head, follow. They moved through the Fang's corridors until reaching a training hall where other Space Wolves drilled in squad tactics. You were weapon before, Bjorn said without preamble. Weapon X. Yes? Your memories bled into mine during Battle Link in the drop pod. Apologies for intrusion, but Pack Bond shares all. You were made to kill alone. Disposable asset for shadowy masters. Here, you are still weapon, but weapon we sharpen together, wield together, trust to guard our backs. Logan watched the tactical displays overlapping fields of fire. Coordinated assaults, brothers covering brothers. It looked right, like what the X-Men should have been before politics and egos fractured them. What if I can't change? Logan asked quietly. What if the beast takes over? What if the beast takes over? Bjorn's smile was all fangs. Then we chain you until it passes. Or we kill you. Space Wolves know the Wolfen curse intimately. We are sons of Fenris. We are the beast. Controlled. Barely. He clapped a massive hand on Logan's shoulder guard. Your healing gift is Emperor's Blessing. Your past life skills are valuable, but if you cannot become Pack, you are liability. And the Imperium has no use for liabilities. The next weeks were brutal. Bjorn drilled Logan relentlessly, not on killing, but on killing with others. Squad maneuvers. Fire discipline. Learning when to press attack and when to hold position so brothers could advance. Learning that Space Marine armor was mobile fortress, and 8 fortresses supporting each other were exponentially deadlier than 8 warriors fighting separately. Logan chafed under the structure. Every instinct screamed to trust only himself, to move fast and strike first. But gradually, grudgingly, he began to understand. Space Marines weren't enhanced humans, they were living weapons systems designed for combined arms warfare. One Space Marine could kill hundreds. A squad could kill thousands. A company could break civilizations, but only if they fought as one. The bloodied fang translated into real space above Valdris Prime, and Logan got his first real look at the galaxy he'd been reborn into. The agri-world's surface was scarred with burning fields. Orc warband had made planetfall 2 months prior and were spreading like cancer. Long-range augers detected multiple greenskin settlements and what appeared to be crude fortifications. Orcs are fungal xenos, Bjorn explained as the pack prepared for deployment. They grow stronger the more they fight, live for battle, never retreat, never surrender, regenerate from spores. Only way to cleanse orc infestation is total extermination. Every greenskin, every spore. Logan checked the Fenrisian fangs, flexing his hands inside the powered gauntlets. Sounds like my kind of fight? Perhaps, but remember, we fight as pack. Bjorn's tone turned deadly serious. Orcs are dangerous in numbers. 1 orc we kill easily. 100 orcs we kill with effort. 1,000 orcs, led by proper war boss, can overwhelm even space marines through sheer mass. He locked his helm into place. You will guard my flank. Sven will guard yours. We advance together, or we die apart. The drop pods launched, streaking toward Valdris Prime's surface like meteors of ceramite and fury. Impact. The drop pod's doors blew open, and Logan charged into a nightmare of green flesh and roaring violence. Orcs. Dozens of them, each standing 7 to 8 feet tall. Muscles like corded steel, wrapped in leather, hide, and scrap armor. They carried weapons that looked like they'd been assembled from garbage and willpower. Massive choppas. Crude shooters that fired more bullets than should be physically possible. The greenskins saw the space wolves emerge, and their eyes lit with joy. Space Marens, the largest orc bellowed. A brute easily matching Logan's enhanced height. Finally, a proper scrap. Bjorn's pack opened fire immediately, bolter shells tearing into orc ranks, mass reactive rounds detonating inside alien flesh. Greenskins exploded in showers of meat and bone, but more kept coming, pouring from crude structures made of scrap metal and fungal growth. Logan's enhanced hearing caught the rumble of heavier things approaching orc warbikes, maybe walkers. Advance by fire teams, Bjorn commanded. Brother Logan, Brother Sven left flank, Brothers Kjarl and Tormund right. I will anchor center with Ranulf and Bjorg. Logan moved with Sven, his transhuman legs eating ground rapidly. An orc with a massive 2-handed choppa charged them, bellowing war cries. Sven's bolter barked once, twice. Both rounds struck the greenskin's chest, but the orc kept coming, propelled by alien biology and sheer bloody-minded aggression. Logan's instinct screamed to meet the charge alone. Instead, he remembered training, remembered pack tactics. Sven, suppressing fire, low. Logan voxed. Sven didn't question. His bolter roared, stitching rounds across the orc's legs. The greenskin stumbled just for a heartbeat. Fenrisian fangs blazing. He came down on the orc from above, claws punching through the skull. The greenskin collapsed, and Logan rolled off, immediately scanning for threats to Sven's position. 3 orcs with shutas were drawing bead on his battle brother. Logan sprinted, covering the distance in seconds. The orcs opened fire, crude bullets spraying wildly. Most missed. 2 struck Logan's chest plate, deflecting. 1 found the joint at his elbow. Pain. Sharp and immediate. The bullet lodged an enhanced muscle. Logan felt his healing factor kick in even as he crashed into the orc mob. The Fenrisian fangs became a blur, slice, parry, thrust. Orc blood sprayed across his gray armor. Behind him, Sven's bolter sang, picking off greenskins trying to flank Logan's attack. They moved together, advanced together, killed together. Better. Bjorn's approval came over Vox as the pack carved through the orc mob like Emperor's wrath made manifest. Brother Logan learns. Perhaps not entirely hopeless. The battle raged for 3 hours. Orcs kept coming from buildings, from crude tunnels, from hidden positions. Logan lost count of his kills. 20? 30? His armor was painted green with Xenos blood, His claws never stopped moving. But what struck him most wasn't the killing, it was the coordination. Every time an orc got behind him, a brother was there. Every time his ammunition ran low, a brother provided covering fire. Every time. The ground shook. Logan's enhanced senses screamed, warning. Something massive approached. "Warboss!" Kiarl shouted over Vox. "Bearing 270. It emerged from the largest structure, a monster even by orc standards, easily 12 feet tall, wrapped in welded scrap armor plates, thick as tank treading. Its arms were thick as Logan's torso, one ending in a massive power claw crackling with stolen Imperial tech, the other gripping a Shuda the size of an autocannon. Scars covered its face, and its eyes burned with cunning intelligence rare among greenskins. "As boss Grimtooth," the monster bellowed. "Use Humi gets fought good. But now I crump you myself." Bjorn stepped forward, frost axe in hand. Space wolves do not fear greenskin filth. "Come, Xenos. Taste Fenrisian steel." The warboss charged. Despite its size, it moved with horrifying speed. Bjorn met the charge, frost axe clashing against power claw. The impact sent shockwaves through the air. They traded blows Bjorn's centuries of experience against orc, brute force, and cunning. The warboss was strong. Emperor, it was strong. Even a space wolf was being pushed back. Logan saw Bjorn's left pauldron buckle under a power claw strike. Saw his pack leader stagger. The warboss raised its Shuda point blank at Bjorn's helm. Logan acted. Pure instinct. He launched himself at the warboss, covering 20 feet in a leap, Fenrisian fangs extended. The claws punched into the orc's side, finding the gaps in scrap armor. The warboss roared, backhanding Logan with the power claw. The world exploded into pain. Logan flew 30 feet, crashed through a corrugated metal wall, felt ribs crack. Armor integrity warnings screamed across his display. He tasted blood his own, coppery and wrong. His healing factor kicked into overdrive. Bones knitting, organs repairing. He was up in seconds, charging back into the fight. But in those seconds, the pack had moved. Not to avenge him, not to rescue him, to coordinate. Sven and Kiarl laid suppressing fire on the warboss. Tormund and Ranulf circled to flank positions. Logan understood. This wasn't about individual glory. "Brother Logan," Bjorn voxed, calm despite the battle. "Your task owed the warboss. Make it focus on you. Draw it 3 steps forward. Can you do this?" Could he draw fire? That was basically his specialty. "Yeah," Logan growled. He charged the warboss, claws blazing. "Hey, ugly, that all you got? I've fought tougher orcs in my sleep." The warboss's eyes locked onto him. "Use dead, little git." It charged. 1 step. 2 steps. 3. "Now!" Bjorn roared. The pack opened fire as one organism. Bolter shells from 4 angles struck weak points in the warboss's armor. The melta-charge detonated at its feet, superheated air turning scrap metal molten. The warboss stumbled, and Bjorn's frost axe took it in the throat. The blade bit deep, freezing alien flesh solid. Tormund's power sword followed, punching through the frozen tissue. The warboss's head came free. The remaining orcs, seeing their leader fall, lost cohesion. Some ran, most charged in mindless fury. The space wolves cut them down methodically. When silence finally fell, Logan stood among the corpses, armor breached in a dozen places, ribs healed but still aching. Bjorn approached, frost axe resting on his shoulder. "You drew the warboss as instructed. You trusted Pack to execute. You fought with us, not merely near us." The space wolf's voice carried something almost like pride. "Perhaps you are learning, Brother Logan. Perhaps you become true space wolf yet." Logan looked at his brothers at warriors who'd bled beside him, killed beside him, trusted him to do his part while they did theirs. It felt right. Like something he'd been missing his entire previous life. But as they boarded the Thunderhawk for extraction, Logan caught sight of his reflection in polished ceramite. His face, visible through his damaged helm, looked harder, more savage. The beast inside had tasted blood and brotherhood in equal measure, and it was hungry for more. The bloodied fang had been in the warp for 3 weeks when the Geller field flickered. Logan felt it before the alarm sounded a wrongness that made his enhanced senses scream. The air tasted of copper and rotting flowers. Shadows moved against the light in ways that violated physics, and something was laughing in frequencies that shouldn't exist. All hands to battle stations. The ship's vox erupted with urgency. Geller field compromised. Warp breach imminent. Logan was running before conscious thought engaged. The Fenrisian fangs extending from their housing as he pounded through corridors toward the ship's primary reactor section, where Bjorn's pack had been assigned watch. Other space wolves rushed past him, veterans moving with grim purpose. They all knew what a Geller field failure meant. Daemons. He rounded a corner and stopped. The corridor had twisted, walls bleeding colors that hurt to perceive. Reality buckled. And standing in the center of the impossible geometry was something that wore the shape of a man but was absolutely not human. Pale flesh, too perfect to be real. Eyes like galaxies imploding. Claws that dripped with venom, that sizzled where it struck the deck plates. The thing smiled with too many teeth. A soul reborn. It purred, voice like silk over razor wire. How delicious, how unusual. The Prince of Pleasure would very much like to make your acquaintance, little wolf. Slanesh. Even without training, Logan recognized chaos, corruption when he saw it. The daemon radiated wrongness, beauty twisted into obscenity, perfection become perversion. Not interested, bub. Logan's claws blazed with power fields. Get off our ship. The daemon laughed a sound that made Logan's enhanced hearing bleed. Behind it, the corridor filled with lesser daemons, creatures of writhing flesh and impossible anatomy, pink-skinned horrors with grasping hands, daemonettes with crab-like claws and hypnotic gazes. Brother Logan, do not engage alone. Bjorn's vox crackled, distant. Fall back. 2. The daemonettes charged. Logan's instincts took over. Dodge, strike, kill. The Fenrisian fangs carved through warp flesh, each strike disrupting demonic essence. But these things didn't die like orcs or Dark Eldar. They dissolved into smoke, screaming promises of what they'd do when they reformed. One daemonette got past his guard, its claw raking across his chest plate. The ceramite held, but psychic venom seeped through. Logan felt it burning into his soul, whispers of pleasure and pain. Offers of sensation beyond imagining. Promises that he could stop fighting, stop hurting. Just give in to the hunger inside. His healing factor tried to purge the taint. Transhuman physiology filtered it. But something else resisted the beast within. The berserker rage that had always been his curse and salvation. It roared inside his mind, rejecting the daemon's influence through pure animal fury. Logan snarled, claws tearing through 3 daemonettes in a single sweep. But more kept coming. Too many. Even his healing factor had limits, and every wound the daemons inflicted carried warp taint that burned like acid. Brother! Sven appeared from a side corridor, bolter roaring. Mass reactive shells tore into daemon flesh. Behind him came Kjarl and Tormund, the pack forming defensive line. Logan's pride wanted to keep fighting alone, but training overrode instinct. He fell back to his brothers, and they moved as unit overlapping fields of fire, covering each other's reloads, advancing in controlled fury rather than berserk charge. The greater daemon watched, amused. Such discipline, such control. But I smell what sleeps in your soul, Reborn one. The beast that yearns to break free, the rage that feeds on violence. It gestured languidly. Embrace what you are. Let the beast consume you. Corne cares not from whence the blood flows. Shut your mouth, daemon! Bjorn emerged from the reactor section, frost axe blazing with killing frost. Wolf Priest Ulrich was beside him, Crozius Arcanum crackling with holy power. The daemon hissed, reality warping around it. The Emperor is a corpse on a golden throne. His realm crumbles. His sons fall to us, one by one. And this new pup? It pointed at Logan, already teetering on the edge. I can taste his rage. Logan felt it, the beast inside, responding to the daemon's words. The berserker state hovering at the edge of consciousness. He'd controlled it before, in his past life. Channeled it, used it, but now? What if he couldn't stop once he started? Brother Logan. Ulrich's voice cut through his doubt. The beast within is not corruption, it is nature Fenrisian fury, the wrath of Russ himself. The curse is not losing yourself to rage. The curse is forgetting you have brothers to pull you back. The wolf priest's words hit like bolt round. Not fighting alone anymore. Not having to control everything by himself. Having a pack to anchor him when the beast threatened to drown him. Logan looked at his brothers, at Bjorn, Sven, Kjarl, Tormund, Ranulf, Bjorg, at warriors who'd bled beside him, killed beside him, were willing to die beside him, at the pack he'd never had in his previous life. All right, Logan growled, feeling the rage building. Let's show this daemon what space wolves do to trespassers. He let go. The beast exploded from inside him, not as loss of control, but as weapon unleashed. Logan charged, and behind him, his brothers charged in perfect formation. The Fenrisian fangs became lightning, tearing through daemons with transhuman speed enhanced by berserker fury. But unlike his old rages, unlike the times he'd lost himself completely, Logan remained aware, felt his brothers guarding his flanks, heard Bjorn's commands through the red haze, knew when to press and when to withdraw. The greater daemon's amusement faded to concern as the space wolves tore through its summoned host. Ulrich's Crozius struck, disrupting warp essence. Bjorn's frost axe carved reality itself, and Logan, claws blazing, drove straight for the daemon's heart. They met in fury, Logan's claws against demonic talons, transhuman strength against warp-spawned power. The daemon was stronger, faster, enhanced by the warp's energies. But Logan had something it didn't. He had brothers. Sven's bolter barked, rounds striking the daemon's flank. Kjarl's power sword bit into its leg. Tormund's meltagun superheated air around it, disrupting its essence. And when the daemon turned to face these threats, Ulrich was there, Crozius blazing with the Emperor's light. Back to the warp, abomination. The daemon screamed, its form destabilizing. Reality reasserted itself as the Geller field repaired. The creature dissolved into smoke and malice, its final words echoing. You think you've won, little wolf? The beast is loose, and beasts hunger. The silence after battle was always worse than the fighting. Logan stood in the corridor, armor scored with demonic corruption, breathing hard despite transhuman endurance. Around him, his pack performed post-battle rituals, checking ammunition, reciting litanies to their weapons, marking armor with purity seals where daemon taint had touched. Brother Logan, Bjorn's voice carried warning. Your eyes. Logan caught his reflection in polished bulkhead. His eyes, they'd changed. Amber, almost glowing, more wolf than human. The Canis helix asserting itself, triggered by the berserker rage. He blinked, and slowly the color faded back to normal. But Bjorn had seen. They all had. The wolfen curse manifests differently in each warrior, Ulrich said, approaching, his augmetic eye whirred as it scanned Logan. Some grow fangs. Some sprout fur. Some lose speech, communicating only in growls. You. He studied Logan carefully. Your curse and your gift are intertwined. The healing factor prevents full transformation, but the rage runs deeper than most. Dangerous, but potentially powerful. I controlled it, Logan said defensively. This time, Ulrich's tone wasn't accusatory, merely factual. But chaos now knows you exist, knows your nature. Not edge of corruption, but edge of losing yourself to beast entirely. The question is not whether you will face this again. In the galaxy's darkness, you absolutely will. Question is whether you trust your brothers to bring you back. Logan looked at the pack at warriors who'd just fought beside him against literal daemons from hell, who'd seen him lose himself to rage and hadn't executed him as corrupted, who'd pulled him back through discipline and brotherhood. Yeah, Logan said quietly, I trust them. Good. Bjorn maglocked his frost axe. Because our deployment orders just changed, Inquisitor Covenant of the Ordo Hereticus has requested Space Wolf assistance. Chaos, cult uprising, suspected daemon summoning. We depart immediately. The pack filed out, leaving Logan alone with his thoughts for precious seconds. The daemon's words echoed in his mind. The beast is loose, and beast's hunger. Was he curse or blessing to his brothers? Weapon or liability? 3 days later, the bloodied fang translated into real space above Genna the Fourth, and Logan's questions became irrelevant. Survival took priority. The Death World was aptly named a jungle planet where every organism evolved to kill. Predator plants that moved with disturbing intelligence. Insects the size of tanks. And somewhere in that green hell, a chaos cult had awakened something that had drawn inquisitorial attention. Inquisitor Covenant has provided coordinates. Bjorn briefed the pack in the drop pod bay. Cult compound, deep jungle. Estimated 300 cultists, plus whatever they've summoned. Our task cleanse with extreme prejudice. Leave nothing alive to spread taint. Logan checked the Fenrisian fangs, feeling their familiar weight. 300 cultists. 8 of us. I like those odds. Overconfidence is slow and insidious killer, rumbled Ranulf, the pack's heavy weapons specialist. Cultists die easily. What they summon does not. The drop pods launched. Logan's stomach lurched as they punched through atmosphere. He'd never get used to that sensation. The pods screamed through clouds, heavy with moisture and spores. Automated systems tracking toward the target coordinates. Impact. Doors blew open. Logan emerged into hell. The jungle was alive with hostility. Trees grew too close together, their branches forming canopies so thick that perpetual twilight reigned below. The air was soup thick with humidity and the smell of rot. Logan's enhanced hearing picked up hundreds of sounds, things moving through undergrowth, things stalking in the canopy, things that had never been cataloged by any Imperial biological survey. Form up, Bjorn commanded. Ranulf, rear guard. Logan. Sven. Forward reconnaissance. Move. They advanced through the jungle in tactical silence, bolters ready. Logan's enhanced senses went into overdrive, smelling the chemical markers of predator plants before they struck, hearing the whisper of something massive moving parallel to their position, tasting the psychic wrongness that indicated chaos taint ahead. A cultist emerged from behind a massive tree trunk, ragged robes, skin covered in ritual scars, eyes burning with mad faith. He raised a crude auto pistol. Logan was on him before the man could fire, Fenrisian fangs punching through chest and out the back. The cultist died with a prayer to the dark gods on his lips. Contact. Logan voxed. One down. More ahead. They found the compound 30 minutes later, a clearing carved from jungle, structures built from stone and bone, banners depicting the 8-pointed star of chaos undivided. Cultists moved between buildings, performing rituals, chanting in languages that made Logan's teeth ache. And at the compound's center, a pit. Something moved in that darkness. Something that radiated hunger. Daemon manifestation imminent, Ulrich confirmed, his psychic senses detecting the warp breach forming. We must strike now, before it fully emerges. 8 of us, 300 of them. Bjorn's tone was matter-of-fact. We have faced worse. For Russ and the All-Father charge, the space wolves erupted from the jungle like wrath incarnate. Bolters roared, cutting down cultists in droves. Logan ran beside Sven, claws carving through traitors who'd abandoned the Emperor's light. The cultists were fanatical but poorly trained easy kills for transhuman warriors. But the daemon in the pit was waking. Reality warped around the opening, colors bleeding into each other. Arms emerged, too many arms, each ending in blades that wept blood. A head followed, if you could call it that, a mass of eyes and mouths, all screaming and laughing simultaneously. Khorne Daemon. Logan recognized it from the bestiary lectures wolf priests had drilled into him. Blood God's servant, manifestation of rage and slaughter. It pulled itself from the pit, standing 15 feet tall. Blood for the blood god, it roared. Cultists threw themselves at its feet, offering their throats. The daemon obliged, drinking deeply. With each death, it grew stronger, more solid, more real. Heavy weapons, Bjorn commanded. Bring it down. Ranulf's last cannon spoke. A beam of coherent light that struck the daemon's chest. The creature stumbled but didn't fall. Bjorg's missile launcher followed, crack missiles detonating against brass armor. The daemon roared, more in anger than pain. It charged the pack, and Logan felt the beast inside him respond. This thing was rage incarnate, a mirror of his own berserker fury, but twisted by chaos into something monstrous. They were same, he and this daemon. Both existed only for violence. No, that wasn't true. Logan had brothers, had pack, had purpose beyond just killing. Brother Logan. Bjorn's voice cut through his thoughts. Flank left. Draw its attention. Trust the pack. Logan moved without hesitation, sprinting wide, claws blazing. Hey! Ugly! Over here, the daemon's multiple eyes locked onto him. It recognized something. A kindred rage. A warrior who understood bloodlust. It charged, abandoning the rest of the pack. Logan ran. Not in fear, but in strategy. Drew the daemon away from his brothers, gave them room to maneuver. Behind him, he heard bolter fire, heard Ulrich's prayers, heard the pack coordinating. The daemon caught him, massive blade arms swinging. Logan rolled under the first strike, parried the second with his claws, took the third across his back. Ceramite cracked. Pain exploded. His healing factor kicked in. He was going to die here. No, not alone. Logan, down, Sven's voice. Logan dropped flat. A plasma shot screamed over his head, striking the daemon square in its cluster of faces. The creature shrieked, warp essence destabilizing. Kjarl was there, power sword carving into its leg. Tormund followed, melt-a-gun turning brass armor molten, and Bjorn, frost axe blazing, took the daemon's head. It dissolved, shrieking back into the warp. The remaining cultists, seeing their god banished, broke. The space wolves showed no mercy. When silence fell, Logan lay on blood-soaked ground. Armor breached, back wound slowly healing. Bjorn stood over him, offering a hand. You drew it away, gave us opening, trusted pack to finish what you started. The space wolf pulled Logan to his feet. You learn, brother. You learn, brother. You learn, brother. You learn, brother. Finally, you learn. Logan looked at his brothers, at warriors who'd saved his life, who'd fought beside him against daemon and cultist, at the pack that had become family. But something nagged at him. The way the Khorne daemon had looked at him, like it recognized him, like it knew him. The Inquisitor arrived 3 hours after the compound's cleansing, descending from orbit in a black Aquila lander that bore the rosette of the Ordo Hereticus. Logan watched from the perimeter as the figure emerged, power armor painted midnight black, a face hidden behind a featureless helm, and an authority that radiated from every movement. Inquisitor Covenant. Even Space Marines gave the Inquisition respect, though grudgingly. Wolf Lord Blackmane sends his compliments, Bjorn greeted formally. The cult is purged. We found evidence of long-term daemon worship, sacrificial chambers, and what appears to be direct communication with the warp. All traitors are dead. All structures will be burned. This world is cleansed. Perhaps. Covenant's voice was modulated, gender ambiguous. The Inquisitor moved through the compound with methodical precision, examining evidence, scanning with Auspex devices. Then the helm turned toward Logan, and he felt the weight of that gaze, like a physical thing. This space wolf. He is unusual. My psychic sensors detect anomalies. Logan's enhanced hearing caught Bjorn's barely perceptible sigh. Brother Logan is newly initiated. His gene seed acceptance was exceptional. His service record exemplary. And according action backed of in notifu. And defu expediosi nex fres. And according action backed of in notifu expediosi. And according action backed of in notifu expedio. That is not what I asked. Covenant approached Logan directly, and he forced himself to stand at attention, not to flinch as the Inquisitor circled him like predator evaluating prey. You heal faster than Space Marine norms. You manifest aspects of the Wolfen curse with unusual intensity. And your soul. The Inquisitor paused. Your soul remembers death and rebirth. Ice flooded Logan's veins. How could the Inquisitor know? Explain. Covenant commanded. Not requested. Commanded. Logan looked to Bjorn, who gave the slightest nod. The pack leader had known this moment would come. Every abnormality attracted inquisitorial attention eventually. I died, Logan said simply. In another life. Another universe. Somehow, my soul came through the warp, was reborn into this body, this gene seed, this chapter. He met the Inquisitor's hidden gaze. I serve the Emperor. I serve the Space Wolves. That's all that matters. Is it? Covenant was silent for a long moment. Souls do not simply migrate between realities. Such phenomena require either massive warp disturbance or deliberate intervention, which means either chaos had hand in your rebirth making you potential corruption vector, or the Emperor himself guided your soul to serve his Imperium. The Inquisitor's tone sharpened. Which is it, Space Wolf? I don't know, Logan admitted. But I've fought chaos twice now. Daemons of Slanesh and Khorne. Both times, I resisted. Both times, my gene seed and my gift rejected their taint. You resisted. Admirable. Covenant turned to Bjorn. I require this Space Wolf for specialized assignment. Ordo Hereticus has tracked Chaos Cult Network across 3 sectors. The cult worships something they call the Renewed Champion, a warrior reborn through dark rituals, granted power beyond normal Marines. Your brother Logan may provide unique insight into such phenomena. It wasn't a request. Inquisitors didn't make requests. Bjorn's jaw tightened. Brother Logan is part of my pack. He fights with us, and he will return to you when my investigation concludes. Covenant's tone allowed no argument unless you wish to refuse an Inquisitor's requisition and face questioning about why you harbor potentially tainted asset. The threat was clear. Logan saw Bjorn's hands curl into fists, saw his brothers tense. But refusing the Inquisition was heresy. Even Space Marines had to bow to their authority. I'll go, Logan said quietly. Brothers, I'll return. Trust that. Sven stepped forward. The pack does not abandon its own. You're not abandoning me. Logan forced confidence he didn't entirely feel. I'm serving the Imperium. Same as you. Just different battlefield. Ulrich appeared from the compound's ruins, Crozius in hand. The wolf priest studied Logan with ancient eyes, then nodded slowly. Go with the Emperor's blessing, brother. Remember, you are Space Wolf. No interrogation, no investigation, no threat, can take that from you. Hold to your oaths. Your brothers will be waiting." The Aquila lander lifted off 2 hours later, Logan aboard in mag-locked restraints. Standard procedure for assets under investigation, Covenant had explained. Through the viewport, he watched Genna IV recede, watched his pack become tiny dots of gray armor amid the green hell. For the first time since his rebirth, Logan was truly alone. The inquisitorial fortress ship Unrelenting Truth was nothing like the Bloodied Fang, where the Space Wolf vessel celebrated warrior tradition with trophies and banners. This ship was sterile, efficient, designed for one purpose: extracting truth at any cost. Logan was escorted through corridors lined with cells, each containing someone or something under investigation. He tried not to think about what happened to those who failed the Inquisition's tests. His cell was 10 feet by 10 feet. Bare ceramite walls, a single glow globe providing harsh illumination. They'd taken the Fenrisian fangs temporarily for security, leaving him in just his body glove and the knowledge that even his transhuman strength wouldn't breach these walls. Hours passed. Days, maybe. Without external references, time became fluid. Logan's healing factor kept him physically optimal, but mentally, being alone again, trapped again, reminded him too much of Weapon X, of being experiment, of being weapon to be analyzed. When Covenant finally appeared, Logan was pacing like caged animal. "Sit," the Inquisitor commanded. Logan sat on the cell's single bench. Covenant remained standing, backlit by the corridor's light, still wearing that featureless helm. "I have examined your service records, spoken with your wolf priest, reviewed cogitator analysis of your genetic profile." Covenant tilted head slightly. "Every examination confirms the same conclusion: you are physically Space Wolf, no trace of chaos taint. Your soul, however," the Inquisitor paused. "Your soul is impossibly old, scarred by centuries of trauma, yet pure, stubbornly, almost defiantly pure despite everything it has endured. Is there a point to this?" Logan growled. "The point, Space Wolf, is that you are weapon. Not Imperium's weapon, not Chaos's weapon, but weapon nonetheless forged by suffering, tempered by loss, sharpened by endless war." Covenant leaned closer. "The question I must answer: can such weapon be trusted, or will it inevitably turn on those who wield it?" Logan thought about the X-Men, about how often he'd left, come back, left again, about how trust had always been hardest part. But the Space Wolves were different. They'd given him pack, given him brothers who bled beside him, died beside him, pulled him back from edge when beasts threatened to consume. "I don't turn on my pack," Logan said quietly. "Ever. We shall see." Covenant straightened. "The cult I mentioned, the renewed champion, has surfaced on Hive World Varantis III. Intelligence suggests they've successfully performed their ritual, created their Reborn warrior through fusion of human, daemon, and stolen gene seed. Abomination by any measure, but one that claims experiences from past life, much like you." Logan understood immediately. "You want me to face it, see if I'm like it, see if I'm just as corrupted. Alder 9, Ulver Dawn, you want me to face it, Alder 9. You want me to face it, Alder 9. Alder 9 7. You want me to face it, Alder 9. Alder 9 17. Alder 9 17. Precisely." Covenant's tone held grim satisfaction. "If you are truly pure, you will destroy this abomination without hesitation. If you are corrupted, you will hesitate, sympathize, perhaps even join it." The Inquisitor turned toward the cell door. "Your Fenrisian fangs will be returned. You will accompany my kill team to Varantis III. And Brother Logan?" The featureless helm looked back. "If you fail this test, I will execute you personally. Emperor's mercy." The cell door sealed with finality. Logan sat in silence, processing. He was being used, tested, evaluated, like specimen under microscope. Just like before, just like always. But he'd meant what he'd said. He was Space Wolf now. He had pack waiting for him. And no Inquisitor, no cult, no daemon was going to take that away. The beast inside him growled agreement. Vorantis III was industrial nightmare, a hive world where billions lived stacked in cities that pierced the clouds, where sunlight never reached the lower levels, where humanity existed in layers of squalor and desperation. Logan stood on the Aquila lander's deployment ramp, looking down at the upper hive spires as the craft descended toward the coordinates Covenant had provided. The Inquisitor's kill team surrounded him, 6 warriors, each specialists in their field. There was Scorn, an ancient space marine from the Death Watch, bearing black armor and enough purity seals to fill a chapel. Sister Dominica of the Order of the Valorous Heart, her power armor crimson and gold, face scarred by acid burn. Interrogator Dre, a tech priest with more augmetics than flesh. 3 others whose names Logan hadn't bothered learning, armsmen in carapace armor carrying specialized anti-daemon weaponry. And Covenant, overseeing everything with that featureless helm and absolute authority. The cult operates from Hive Tertius, level 705, Covenant briefed. Population density, 2 million. Civilian casualties, acceptable if necessary for cult eradication. Rules of engagement: kill everything that resists. Question nothing that speaks of the renewed champion. Destroy all evidence of ritual sites. What about the champion itself? Logan asked. It dies. Publicly, as warning to others who might attempt such abomination. Covenant's helm turned toward Logan. Unless you find reason it should live, the challenge was clear. Logan met it without flinching. If it's chaos tainted, it dies. Simple. The lander touched down on a landing platform, jutting from the hive side like metallic growth. They disembarked into a world of rust, pollution, and human misery. The air tasted of chemical runoff and desperation. Thousands of citizens moved through the level's corridors, most not even looking at the inquisitorial team. In the Imperium, you learned early. Don't attract attention. Don't ask questions. Don't get involved. The kill team moved through the hive with ruthless efficiency. Covenant's intelligence was precise. The cult operated from a converted manufactorum, its workers either converted or killed, its output devoted to producing ritual components and demonic effigies. Logan's enhanced senses picked up the taint before they reached the site, that same psychic wrongness that indicated chaos, corruption. Contact in 30 seconds. Scorn voxed, his centuries of experience reading battlefield conditions perfectly. Cultist guards, estimated 20, armed with autoguns and improvised close combat weapons. Purge them, Covenant ordered simply. The kill team hit the manufactorum like Emperor's judgment. Cultists died to precise bolt rounds, to Sister Dominica's flamer, washing them in holy promethium, to Logan's claws, carving through flesh and bone. They fought with fanatical courage, screaming prayers to the dark gods as they died. Logan felt nothing for them. They'd chosen damnation willingly. That made them less than human in his eyes. The renewed champion waited in the manufactorum's central chamber, surrounded by ritual circles and piles of corpses. Logan saw it and understood immediately why Covenant had brought him here. It was Space Marine, or had been. The power armor was wrong warped, grown into flesh in places, decorated with chaos iconography. But underneath, you could see what it once was. Dark Angel's colors, mostly obscured by corruption. The warrior stood 7 feet tall, muscles bulging with demonic enhancement, skin covered in constantly shifting tattoos that depicted scenes of slaughter. And its eyes, old eyes, tired eyes, eyes that had seen too much, locked onto Logan with instant recognition. "Brother," the renewed champion said, voice rough like grinding stone. "You're like me. I can sense it. Soul reborn, memories intact, pulled through the warp and given new flesh." It gestured at itself. "They promised me power to change things, to make the Imperium better. All I had to do was accept their gift. Logan studied the creature, seeing what Covenant wanted him to see, what happened when you said yes to chaos. When you thought you could use their power without being corrupted. The champion was strong, yes, enhanced beyond normal Space Marine capabilities, but it was also slave. Every inch of its flesh bore marks of ownership by powers that cared nothing for its noble intentions. You were Dark Angel, Logan said. Chapter that hunts the fallen. Chapter obsessed with redemption for past sins. What made you turn? The champion laughed bitterly. Turn? I didn't turn. I tried to save. Tried to redeem. The dark gods showed me visions of brothers I could resurrect. Fallen warriors I could bring back. All I had to do was serve them. Its expression, twisted. I see. AT being. I see B. I see. I see B. I see B. I thought I was strong enough to resist corruption. I thought my faith, my loyalty, my memories of who I was would protect me. They didn't, Logan observed. No. The champion looked at its warped hands. The moment I said yes, they owned me. Body, soul, everything. Now, I'm weapon for their entertainment. Proof that even reborn souls can fall. Its eyes found Logan again. You've felt it too. The temptation. The whispers saying you could use chaos to protect your brothers, to make the galaxy better. Haven't you? Logan had. During the Geller Field breach, the Daemon had offered power. On Genna IV, the Khorne Daemon had called to his rage. The Dark Gods knew weakness, knew how to exploit it. Yeah, Logan admitted. I felt it, but here's the difference between us, bub. He extended the Fenrisian fangs. Power fields blazing. I've got Pact to pull me back. I've got brothers who won't let me fall. You? Logan shook his head. You tried to save alone. Thought you could shoulder everything by yourself. That's what made you weak. The renewed champion's expression crumbled. For a moment, Logan saw the warrior it had been loyal, dedicated, desperate to redeem its chapter's sins. Then chaos reasserted control, and its features twisted into demonic rage. Weak? I am stronger than any Space Marine. I will show you what true power. Logan didn't let it finish. He charged, claws striking for weak points in the corrupted armor. The champion met him with strength that exceeded even transhuman norms, hands crackling with warp lightning. They clashed in the center of the ritual chamber, warrior against abomination, purity against corruption. The champion was stronger. Demonic enhancement gave it edges Logan didn't possess. But Logan had something it didn't: clarity. Purpose. He wasn't fighting to prove anything. He was fighting to end suffering. Behind him, the kill team engaged cultists pouring in from side chambers. Sister Dominica's flamer washed them in cleansing fire. Scorn's bolt pistol spoke with centuries of precision. Covenant watched, evaluating, judging whether Logan would falter. He didn't. The Fenrisian fangs found openings, carving through corrupted flesh. The champion's warp lightning burned Logan's armor, seared his skin, but his healing factor purged the taint as fast as it entered. They fought with berserker intensity, two reborn souls clashing in Manufactorum filled with corpses and corruption. You could join me! The champion screamed, desperation creeping into its voice. Together! We could! No. Logan's claws punched through its chest, piercing both hearts. I'm Space Wolf. I serve the Emperor. I protect my pack. That's all I need to be. The champion gasped. Demonic enhancements failing as catastrophic damage overwhelmed them. Its eyes cleared for just a moment, human awareness returning. Thank you, brother. Logan's claws tore sideways, ending it. What remained was just corpse in corrupted armor. Covenant approached, studying the corpse, then Logan. You did not hesitate. did not show mercy, did not sympathize despite recognizing yourself in this abomination. It chose chaos, Logan said flatly. Simple, yes. The Inquisitor was silent for a moment. The Ordo Hereticus has reached conclusion regarding your status, Brother Logan of the Space Wolves. You are weapon, yes, but weapon loyal to the Emperor. Your rebirth was not chaos corruption, but Emperor's will, giving his Imperium tool needed for wars to come. But know this, the Inquisition will be watching. Should you ever falter, should chaos ever claim you. It won't, Logan growled. We shall see. Covenant turned away. Purge this site. Leave nothing. We depart in 1 hour. As the kill team systematically destroyed every trace of cult presence, Logan stood over the renewed champion's corpse, thinking about paths not taken. He could have become this, could have let chaos whisper him into damnation with promises of power, of protecting his brothers better. But he had Pack, had brothers waiting, had purpose beyond just killing. That made all the difference. The beast inside him was quiet, satisfied, for now. The bloodied fang waited in orbit above Fenris when the inquisitorial vessel released Logan, and the moment his boots touched the strike cruiser's deck, he felt at home. The smell of weapon oil and gene-forging chemicals, the sound of brothers training, the pack bond that had been stretched thin across sectors snapping back into place. Bjorn met him in the embarkation bay. Frost axe across his shoulders, expression carefully neutral. Brother Logan, you return intact, more or less. Logan's armor was still scored from the fight with the renewed champion. Purity seals applied by Covenant's team marking where Daemon Taint had been purged. Inquisitors satisfied, I'm not chaos corrupted. For now. For now is sufficient in these dark times. Bjorn clasped Logan's forearm in the warrior's greeting. Your timing is fortunate. We have new deployment orders. Crusade-level operation. The whole great company mobilizes. Logan felt something shift in the air, the tension that came before major war. Where? Cadia sector, or what remains of it. Bjorn's expression darkened. The 13th Black Crusade intensifies. Abaddon the Despoiler pushes toward the fortress world. Multiple chapters respond. Space Wolves, Blood Angels, Ultramarines, dozens more, guard regiments beyond counting. His voice lowered. The Despoiler brings Daemon engines, corrupted titans, and the full might of Chaos legions. This is war on scale you have not witnessed, brother. This is the ending of worlds. Logan had read the histories, heard the legends. Cadia fortress world that held the line against the Eye of Terror for 10,000 years. If Cadia fell, the Imperium's bulwark against chaos would shatter. The strategic and symbolic loss would be catastrophic. When do we leave? Now. Bjorn turned toward the ship's interior. Pack is already aboard dropships. Wolflord Ragnar leads from the front. We make planetfall in 6 hours. He glanced back. The Inquisitor's tests proved one thing, Logan. You can resist chaos when alone. Now we see if you can resist when surrounded by it on every side. The warp translation to the Cadia sector took 2 weeks, and every day Logan felt the wrongness growing. This close to the Eye of Terror, reality was thin. Shadows moved wrong. Dreams bled into waking. Even transhuman space marines felt the oppressive weight of chaos's presence. When they finally translated into real space, Logan saw hell. Cadia's orbit was graveyard. Thousands of ships, Imperial Navy, Chaos fleets, Space Marine strike cruisers, Daemon corrupted vessels that shouldn't be able to exist in real space. They clashed in void battles that turned space into field of plasma fire and dying vessels. The planet below was worse continents aflame. Pylons that had held reality stable for millennia crumbling, and swarms of drop pods and landing craft ferrying armies down to die. Emperor's mercy, Logan breathed. There is no mercy here, Ulrich said, appearing beside him at the observation port. The wolf priest's ancient face was grim. Only duty. Only war. only the choice between standing or falling. He placed hand on Logan's shoulder. You have fought well since rebirth, brother, proven yourself to pack, to chapter, to inquisition. But Cadia will test you beyond anything you have faced. The beast within will howl for blood. Chaos will whisper promises. Brothers will die around you. His grip tightened. Hold to your oaths. Remember why you fight. And if the beast threatens to consume you, trust your pack to bring you back. The drop pods launched into firestorm. Anti-aircraft batteries from both sides lit the sky. Imperial defense lasers tracking Chaos landing craft. Traitor weapons targeting Loyalist drop pods. Logan's pod shook as last fire struck its ablative armor, alarms screaming as systems failed. Around him, the pack was silent. Each warrior locked in meditation or prayer. Logan thought about the X-Men, about all the times he'd fought impossible battles against world-ending threats. This was same scale, but darker, grimmer. There were no heroes here, no last-minute saves, no hope that humanity would triumph through virtue. There was only the choice to fight or die, and Space Wolves chose to fight. The pod hit like meteor, retro thrusters barely slowing the impact. Doors blew open, and Logan charged into Maelstrom. The battlefield was Chaos incarnate Space Marines from multiple chapters holding defensive line against waves of Chaos cultists, Traitor Guard, and things that had once been human but weren't anymore. The sky burned. The ground trembled. And everywhere, the dead. To me, Bjorn's roar cut through the cacophony. Form defensive perimeter, hold the line. Logan ran to his pack leader's position, Fenrisian fangs blazing. A cultist lunged at him, face covered in Chaos iconography, screaming prayers to dark gods. Logan's claws ended him without thought. More came. Always more. He killed until his armor was painted with blood, until his enhanced muscles screamed from exertion, until time became meaningless blur of violence. Demon engine! Sven's warning came too late. The thing that emerged from smoke was nightmare. Made metal, part tank, part daemon, all hatred. It stood 20 feet tall. Brass armor fused to demonic flesh. Weapons that spat warp fire. The construct charged their position, crushing cultists and space marines alike beneath clawed treads. Fall back, Bjorn commanded. Fighting withdrawal to secondary line. They retreated in order, pack covering each other, laying suppressing fire. But the daemon engine was relentless, and worse, it was intelligent. Targeted squad leaders, focused fire on heavy weapons, adapted to tactics in real time. Brother Ranulf went down, Lascannon torn from his hands as daemon spawned tentacles wrapped around his armor. Sven tried to pull him back, but the engine's main weapon fired Melt-a-Blast that turned the air to superheated plasma. Both Space Wolves screamed as their armor liquefied. Logan watched his brothers die. Watched warriors he'd bled beside, fought beside, trusted with his life, reduced to molten slag and blackened ceramite. Something inside him broke, or maybe it was released. The beast exploded from his control. Logan didn't remember deciding to charge, didn't remember crossing the 100 yards between him and the daemon engine. There was only red rage, only the need to kill, only the beast howling for vengeance. He hit the daemon engine like missile, Fenrisian fangs punching into brass armor, climbed its surface as it thrashed, claws tearing through metal and demonic flesh. The construct tried to shake him off, tried to burn him with warp fire, tried to crush him against rockcrete. Logan's armor breached, ribs cracked. His healing factor worked overtime, keeping him alive through injuries that would kill even Space Marine. But he didn't stop, couldn't stop. The beast was fully unleashed, and it demanded blood. Logan's claws found the engine's core demonic heart that powered the construct. He tore into it, power fields disrupting warp essence, adamantium hard claws shredding reality-breaking machinery. The demon engine screamed, a sound that made reality shudder. Then it exploded. The blast hurled Logan 50 feet, his world becoming pain and fire and ringing silence. When awareness returned, he He was on his back, armor smoking, half his body covered in burns. His healing factor struggled against Daemon Taint, slowly pushing corruption out through wounds that wept black ichor. Logan! Bjorn was there, pulling him upright. "Brother, can you hear me?" Logan tried to speak, but what came out was growl. His vision swam red. The beast was still loose, still demanding more blood, more killing, more. Bjorn slapped him, hard enough to crack the ceramite of his already damaged helm. "Brother, look at me. You are Space Wolf. Not beast. Not monster. Space Wolf." The words cut through red haze. Logan focused on Bjorn's face, saw concern there, saw Pack Brother refusing to give up on him, saw the rest of the pack, Kjarl, Tormund, Bjorg, forming protective circle around him while battle raged. They hadn't abandoned him. Even when Beast took over, even when he became liability, they stood by him. Logan's breathing slowed. The red faded. Humanity, or at least transhuman awareness, reasserted itself. "I'm back," he rasped. "Good." Bjorn hauled him fully to his feet. "Because we are not finished. Battle continues. Cadia stands, and while it stands, we fight." Logan looked across battlefield at mountains of corpses, at fires that would burn for days, at sky torn by warp storms. Saw space marines from dozen chapters holding impossible line against chaos tide. Saw Imperial Guard, normal humans with nothing but faith and lasguns, standing against Daemon and traitor. Saw war without end, without mercy, without hope of final victory. Only the daily choice to stand or fall. And Logan chose to stand. The battle for Cadia raged for 73 days. Logan lost count of how many times he'd charged into combat, how many enemies he'd killed, how many brothers he'd watched die. The 13th Black Crusade was meat grinder on galactic scale. Millions died daily, and the Imperium poured more millions in to replace them. Space Marines bled and died, holding critical positions. Imperial Guard regiments ceased to exist, ground down to last soldier. On day 50, Abaddon the Despoiler himself took the field. Logan saw him from across battlefield, ancient Terminator armor, the color of midnight. Talon of Horus, crackling with stolen power, an aura of chaos, corruption so thick it distorted reality. The War Master of Chaos had waited 10,000 years for this moment, and he would not be denied. The Despoiler carved through Imperial lines like Daemon-possessed Reaper. Space Marine captains fell before him. Entire guard companies disintegrated. He was heading for Kasr Galan, the fortress city that anchored Cadia's northern defense. If it fell, the entire continent would collapse. "All forces!" Wolf Lord Ragnar's voice echoed across Vox channels. "Converge on Kasr Galan. We hold or we die, for Russ, for the Emperor, for Cadia." Logan ran with what remained of Bjorn's Pack 3 warriors now. All that survived from Original 8. They joined the desperate rush toward Kasr Galan. The greatest concentration of Space Marines in one place since Horus Heresy, all converging to stop one traitor. The battle at Kasr Galan's gates was apocalyptic. Abaddon's elite Black Legion Terminators, Daemon-possessed Chaos Marines, summoned entities from the warp clashed with Imperium's finest. Logan fought beside Blood Angels suffering from Black Rage, their enhanced madness making them nearly as dangerous as enemies they fought. Fought beside Ultramarines, executing textbook tactics even as cultists overwhelmed them through sheer numbers. Fought beside Imperial Guard, who knew they were dead but refused to break. The beast inside Logan howled constantly, demanding release. He controlled it, barely, channeling rage into focused violence. The Fenrisian fangs never stopped moving. Slice, parry, thrust, kill. His armor was more scar than ceramite now, barely functional. His body had been wounded and healed so many times that even his enhanced healing struggled. But he stood. They all stood. Then the sky broke. The Blackstone Fortress ancient superweapon Abaddon had captured fired. Not at Cadia's surface, but at orbital pylons that stabilize reality around the world. The pylons shattered. The warp flooded in. Reality itself began unraveling. Logan felt it immediately, the boundary between materium and immaterium dissolving. Demons manifesting without need for summoning. Laws of physics becoming suggestions. Around him, Space Marines fought things that couldn't exist, while reality warped and twisted. "Fall back," Ragnar commanded. "All forces to extraction points. Cadia is lost." The words hit like bolt round. Cadia, 10,000 years standing, was falling. The fortress world was breaking apart, literally, as tectonic instability from the warp breach tore the planet's crust. Cities disappeared into fissures that led nowhere. Mountains flew into sky and didn't come down. Oceans burned. Logan retreated with his pack, fighting running battle toward extraction coordinates. Warriors made last stands to buy time for others to escape. He saw Imperial Guard Colonel standing atop pile of cultist corpses, empty lasgun in hand, screaming defiance until Chaos Marine cut him down. Saw Space Marine Chaplain, legs gone, propping himself against rubble to give benediction to fleeing soldiers before daemons overwhelmed him. Saw heroism measured not in victory, but in how long you delayed defeat. A Thunderhawk appeared through the smoke, firing its heavy bolters to clear landing zone. Bjorn shoved Logan toward it. "Go! Board now, not without the pack." Logan grabbed for Bjorn, but the Space Wolf pushed him away. "You are pack. You survive. That is order." Bjorn turned back toward advancing Chaos forces. "Tell Wolf Lord we held the line. Tell him Fenris remembers." Kiarl and Tormund joined Bjorn, 3 Space Wolves, forming final defensive line. Logan tried to go back, but hands grabbed him, other Space Marines pulling him aboard the Thunderhawk even as he fought them. The transport lifted off, and Logan watched through viewport as his pack brothers disappeared under wave of traitors. Watched as Kasser Gallon collapsed into itself, swallowed by warp breach. Watched as Cadia, unconquerable Cadia, died. The bloodied Fang limped away from Cadia's corpse with maybe half its original crew. Hundreds of Space Wolves gone. Tens of thousands of guard. Millions of civilians. The fortress world was now asteroid field and warp storm, and Abaddon's laughter echoed across the sector. But the Imperium survived. Battered, bloodied, diminished, but alive. Fleets regrouped. Chapters counted losses. Crusades were planned to reclaim what was lost. Logan stood in the ship's observation deck, looking at where Cadia had been. His armor was in armorarium, being rebuilt. His body was finally, fully healed. But something inside him was different. "They died well," Ulrich said, joining him at viewport. Bjorn, Sven, Ranulf, Kjarl, Tormund, all the pack. Their gene seed will create new brothers. Their names will be honored in Fang's halls. They live on in chapter memory. That's supposed to make it better? Logan's voice was rough. No. Loss of pack brother is wound that never fully heals. Ulrich was quiet moment. But you must understand, Logan, this is what it means to be Space Marine. We are weapons that break defending the Imperium. Cadia fell, but how many worlds did it save by standing so long? How many billions lived because Fortress World held? That is victory in this galaxy. Not triumph, but delaying extinction one more day. Logan thought about his old life. About X-Men dying and coming back through time travel. Clones, cosmic resurrections. That mercy didn't exist here. When Space Marine fell, he was gone. Only Gene Seed remained, to create new warrior who wasn't him, who would fight and die in turn. It was brutal, hopeless, grimdark in purest sense. And yet they kept fighting. What now? Logan asked. Now? Ulrich smiled grimly. Now we return to Fenris. Recruit new pack brothers. Rebuild what was lost. And when next call comes, because call always comes, we go to war again. The Wolf Priest's hand rested on Logan's shoulder. You have proven yourself, Brother Logan. Proven you can resist chaos, control the beast, stand when all hope dies. You are true Space Wolf now. Logan looked at his reflection in Viewport's scarred face, hard eyes, warrior who died once and been reborn into Galaxy's nightmare. The X-Men seemed lifetime ago now. Weapon X, a distant memory. He was Logan still, but he was also Space Wolf, battle brother, pack warrior. The Imperium had taken everything from him, his old life, his pack, any illusion that good could triumph. But it had given him purpose, given him brothers worth dying for, given him war that mattered, even if it was war that couldn't be won. When's the next deployment? Logan asked. Ulrich's smile widened. 3 weeks, orc invasion, ghoul stars. We hunt greenskins who threaten agri-worlds. Good. Logan's hands flexed, imagining Fenrisian fangs extending. The beast inside him was quiet, satisfied by Cadia's carnage, but already anticipating next battle. I'll be ready, because that's what Space Wolves did. They fought. They bled. They died. And they did it again. And again. Forever. Because the alternative was letting Galaxy burn. Logan had been weapon before. Now he was weapon with purpose. And in grim darkness of far future, that was closest thing to victory any warrior could hope for. The years that followed Cadia's fall blurred together in endless war. Logan fought across dozen sectors, against every enemy the galaxy could conjure. Orcs on Armageddon, Tyranids in the Eastern Fringe, chaos, cultists spreading corruption through hive worlds, dark Eldar raids that left populations enslaved, Necrons awakening from tomb worlds to reclaim galaxy they once ruled. He earned honors, battle scars, reputation. The Inquisition watched him still, but from distance now he'd proven himself too valuable to waste on suspicion. Other chapters learned of the Space Wolf who couldn't die, who healed from wounds that would kill even Astartes, who walked line between man and beast without falling. New pack brothers joined him, replacing those who fell. Logan trained them, fought beside them, watched some die, and others survived to become veterans themselves. The cycle continued. But something had shifted in Logan since Cadia. In Galaxy where chaos gods literally existed, where alien species would happily exterminate humanity, where daemons could manifest and devour souls, the Imperium's brutal methods weren't evil, they were survival. And Logan was weapon of that survival. He'd been reborn in this nightmare future for reason, though whether by Emperor's will or chaos's mockery or simple cosmic accident, he'd never know. But it didn't matter. He was Space Wolf. He had brothers who would die for him, who he would die for in turn. In the grim darkness of the far future, where there was only war, Logan had found what he'd been searching for his entire previous life. A pack that would never abandon him, a cause worth fighting for, and enemies that deserved every ounce of fury the beast inside him could unleash. The Fenrisian fangs would carve through countless enemies in wars to come. The healing factor would keep him alive through battles that would break normal space marines. The beast would howl for blood on 1,000 worlds, and Logan would answer the call every time. The galaxy would burn. Billions would die. Chaos would always threaten. But while Space Wolf stood, while Logan fought beside his brothers, humanity had chance. Small chance. Desperate chance. But chance nonetheless. And in the nightmare darkness of the 41st millennium, where hope itself was heresy, that fragile chance was everything. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. More stories await.